Okay. So I leave you with Prof. Francesco Venier, Dean for the Executive Education here at MIB, and enjoy your masterclass.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. I speak English since we have a lot of people not speaking Italian online, maybe also somebody here. So I hope you can follow me. Well, if you're here in MIB, you know, we use all our full-time masters in English. So probably you're interested in one of them. Today, I'll address an issue that is changing all the time. Is one of my research fields. This is a research field of interest. And we briefly, my idea is to give you an overview, an integrated view of what's going on the business, from the business side regarding digital transformation, some of the branches of AI that are very interesting and kind of scary as well. And then make with you some considerations on how business change. So how important is to change the way we work together, and we address also the strategic issues, given that digital obliges us to compete in different ways than in the past. Okay, so this is the menu, and I want to start. Okay, with a definition. What is digital transformation for me and for the company? Digital transformation is a process, is a dynamic process of alignment between technology, skills, and the way we work. So structures, processes, in order to create value in new ways, in order to be aligned with the environment. It's a process of alignment between the organization and the environment using new technologies that require new skills. So it's fully based on the human side. Digital is just a, what can I say, it's a tool, it's a neutral tool. It depends on how we interpret it and how we make sense of it, the result that we obtain. It's not just embedded in the tool. It's not like when you change the production facilities that you oblige people to follow a rhythm. Many of the changes we're seeing in digital are requiring interpretation, require an active position from the people that has to use them, and eventually also to extend their uses, as we will see. So this very broad concept can be split into smaller and more understandable, more graspable smaller competencies, okay? 3 of them. Where would you start to do this? Where is the starting point to obtain the alignment between organization and technology and the new needs of the customer, new expectations of the customer? We are spoiled by digital, so we expect from companies a kind of reaction that 10 years ago was totally out of our radar, okay? Amazon spoiled us. We can, you know, cancel order, we can send back what we buy, we have immediate response, we have level of service that was impossible to think of only 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago as well. But this is a kind of benchmark that we use to measure all the interactions we have with all the companies, not only companies, also big organizations. I work in university, I'm professor at the University of Trieste, and the software, the interfaces we have there, since we are not Amazon, we are not that rich, or Google, the interfaces look older, slower, not well designed. That's not a fault, that's just a matter of resources. They work, but it's not so easy, and so we are annoyed. Students are annoyed, professors are annoyed to have to use something that is not up to our expectations. Universities are kind of monopolists, not for much, I think, but public administration can afford to be slower in evolving. Companies can't. So where would you start? What is the first thing you think would be relevant if you want to split in 3 smaller, more understandable competencies? This digital transformation ability. Where would you start from? This is the most important one, I would say, the first one.
Management.
Data management. This is already, you know, that's the raw material. But in terms of competencies, what do you have to be able to do to align your organization with what is going on. Analysis, okay? Yeah, start from getting the right information, the right picture, getting the situation, understanding where trends are heading to, and try to anticipate them. So this is fundamental. If you do bad here, if you are missing something here, then you take wrong decisions. Okay. So first, situation analysis, sensing the environment. What's the second one?
Adapt,
That means
leading, adapting.
designing new ways of working together. Organization design. So I see an opportunity, I see a threat, I see an innovation, I think I can make money out of it. I have to reshape my organization, to reshape my processes, to create new processes in order to grasp it. Okay, seizing. I want to seize the opportunity. What's the third one?
Develop.
Yeah, develop, that means making things happen. Okay, implementation. I designed the new organization, but from the design, from PowerPoint, okay, to the real work of people, there is a lot to do. So this is much more managerial skill, much more practical skill, much more soft skill than the other two. The other two require your knowledge, data, techniques. Here you have still techniques, but managerial techniques, human techniques. Okay, so basically doing an MBA, doing a master's help us to read better situation, design better organizations, and manage the process from the idea that we have in design to the action of the idea. So this is the structure of my small class now today. So I will start with the situation analysis, and we scare you. The end of work I've used as a title. Because as you will see, technology is kind of eroding the room for human work. But at the same time, point two, organization design puts people at the center. So I called it digital humanism. This is the part that we don't find very often in the media. Media tends to sell scare. So they tell, oh, robots are eating jobs, AI is eating jobs, everything is, we're losing jobs. Let's stop AI for 6 months. Let's stop AI for 1 year. Let's stop ChatGPT in Italy, that poor Italians cannot cope with that. That's the approach of, the backward-looking people. They don't understand technology. Actually, I'm not saying it's not a problem. It is a problem, but you cannot address it by saying it doesn't exist, or writing laws that try to stop knowledge, to stop evolution. It's impossible. Or it's like the Pandora, it's like the toothpaste. Once it's out of the tube, you cannot put it back. Okay. So once you have learned something, once the technology is there, you just have to make sense of it and try to rethink the way you work in order to exploit the opportunities. So digital humanism, and the third and conclusion will be the implementation that I call data-driven organization, or if you want, entrepreneurial organization. Because as we see, this requires everybody, each one of us. In my job, it's incredible the level of change we are going to implement due to AI. Each of us has the responsibility to somehow invent, see the opportunities, sensing, inventing ways of working, and then learning how to do that. Okay, we are in charge of our future. It's not just somebody else or the state or the school. Schools, state, welfare help us, but we have to help us first. Okay, so let's start. Situation analysis. Robots. If I ask you, the machine that as an archetype steals job is robot. And I want to talk you just to focus our concepts on one robot that shouldn't exist. Okay, this one. This one is the first self-driving car designed to be self-driving. 2014, the first prototype. Last week, my daughter was in Phoenix, Arizona, and she took a ride with Waymo. It was not this one. This is really a car without steering wheel, without pedals, but Waymo One, that is the Google company that is developing this technology. Now that the players are basically two in the Western countries, then in China we have others. But at the beginning, 10 years ago, when this started, there were many different companies competing. Now, you know, shake out of the market, still in development, still not really on the market. But we have General Motors and Google. They're still investing a lot and giving service. Because now it's a couple of years, you can pick a self-driving car as a taxi in Phoenix or in San Francisco at the moment. Just download the app, click, it comes like Uber, okay? Only that there is nobody driving the car. So my daughter and her friends were all screaming. Well, that's incredible. So it's going to come sometimes, maybe not as soon as they thought at the beginning. But what is the consequence? Situation analysis. What changes, for example, in the automotive industry when this car is on the market, this new product, this robot? It's obvious that taxi drivers will disappear, Uber drivers, this kind of stuff. But what else happens?
All the automotive company.
For an automotive car, let's focus on just on the.
Change all the manufacturing process.
So you have to change the manufacturing process. If it is electric, even more, okay? But a lot of software, much more, you know, digital skills than in the past, and they have new components. So there is a technical issue. From the strategic issue, from the strategic point of view, what changes? How do companies are making money? Automotive companies are making money today.
Just providing a service. Yeah.
This is the big change, huge change with huge implication, change the business model. Now, car companies thrive 90% by selling cars. They will have to learn something else. If they want to keep the selling business model in brief is the way a company makes money, okay? So the business model of Amazon is selling stuff online, one part. They have 14, 15 business models, but let's say one is that, okay? Business model of car manufacturers, all large companies have many business models. They have, most of it is selling cars, but then they have financial services and many other side services. They have two kinds of sales. One, the most important, is business to consumer. We buy cars for our families. The other one is business to business. They sell to big fleets of companies, of rental cars, this kind of, that's minor. What happens here? They have to choose. Either they give the service, so they offer the service like Google, or they sell the car to the service provider. But anyway, the business will switch from business to business 100% or 99%. Maybe some of us will still, you know, I don't want to share my car. I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I want my own car. I can afford it. Who cares? I spend 500,000 euros for my car. It's okay, not me, unfortunately, but somebody, a niche of that will remain. But the main market will switch definitely to the service side. So we won't buy cars, we will buy service. You click here, you have the car that comes, picks you up and leaves you, and you forget everything else. Why we don't do that today? Why we don't rent the service today? Because it's expensive, because we have to pay the salary to the car driver. It's extremely expensive, of course. This will be just the mortgage and of course the profit of the service company, service provider. It will be much lower than what we today expect to pay for a service given by a taxi, person individual service or Uber. So that will eventually replace our personal mobility. And this for car companies has a huge impact. Because what happens if they switch to business to consumer? If they switch to giving the service, for example, Ford is focusing more on that. It's important because you know, if you don't give the service, you basically risk to do what Samsung did or Nokia did. They had to switch to, they became platform hardware actually hardware providers of a platform or a third party, and the money goes on the platform, not on the hardware. So giving these to Waymo, giving the hardware, the cars to Waymo means that Waymo will get an interesting slice of the profits coming from the business model. And you will have to reduce your profitability, probably also the size of the market will decrease. And because today our cars are waiting for a driver on average 95% of their lifetime, 95%, only 5% of the time on average, of course, the car is used. If they are self-driving, the fleets will be optimized probably 30, 40%, maybe 50% of the time of the product will be used. Okay, so this means 10 times more. This means 10 times less sales because cars are used more efficiently. So the market will shrink anyway with this technology. Moreover, we have to, they will have also to learn, if they want to give the service, to learn to become service company. That is totally different mindset. If they don't, they will have to sell to big customers, business to business, and big customers and buyers. They know the cost of the product. They give you what they consider a fair profit, and that's it. They cannot sell, fashionable stuff, or they will put Mercedes and Audi and BMW and Maserati in competition with it among them, and they will take the best price. So the profit will go back to the normally these platforms, Waymo, Google is much bigger than the supplier, than the car manufacturers. So they have a lot of bargaining power. Okay, so for the automotive industry, this will be a revolution. If this technology matures, I think we're still far enough, but not that enough, not that much. They're driving by night, they're driving in adverse conditions. They still, of course, will have a lot of problems in Europe with medieval cities. But in the States, it's pretty usable. It's already, for example, for trucks, it's already a big issue to have what they call platooning. So one truck driven by a human driver in front and a kind of train behind of self-driving trucks that they are allowed in several states, not in all the United States for a simple reason. Because the government is slowing down the adoption of this because of what?
Yeah, worry about engineering.
No, they're much safer than humans.
Job loss.
A big job losses. They estimated 3 million job losses only from trucks on the highways. Not every car on every road, only trucks on the highway. They have 900,000, almost 1 million drivers, because you have one driver for 10 trucks. So 90% of the workforce would go out. And then they have another couple of million people in hotels and all what is the services for the truck drivers that will be lost. So they are kind of slowing down.
A problem for us because we don't have truck drivers.
We don't have.
We don't have.
Well, actually, I have friends here that have a kind of 1,500 truck drivers because they run a truck company in Trieste, and another one is near in Codognotto in Veneto. So there is a lot of people working there also in Italy. And if they would allow this on large scale, that would be a kind of jobs lost. Go back, automotive, so it's changing. What also changes? It changes also the supply chain, especially the downwards. If it goes business to business, car retail, car sales, goodbye, all the services will be done. Probably if you have a fleet, you do the services inside. So all the small maintenance and refueling, all that stuff will go. So millions of job losses. Other industries impacted. Think about real estate. How much do we pay for a parking lot in city center? You can spend 50, 60,000 euros if you are in city center, 30,000 if you are a semi-center. What is the value of that if you don't have any more a car? Zero. So we have put our money in real estate for parking our cars that nobody will want in a few years if this technology this robot, one single robot appears, okay? What else? Car accidents. 90% of car accidents are caused by human mistakes. If no human is driving, we will have a rather dramatic decrease in car accidents. Of course, there are still mistakes made by AI, but much less. Insurance companies. What happens to insurance companies? 50%, more than 50% of insurance prices are car insurance. But what do they insure? The driver. The mistake of the driver, the responsibility of the driver. But if nobody drives? So we have 90% drop in the risk. We have less cars and we have no drivers. Probably that will change dramatically. Disappear, the car insurance will disappear as a product. Will remain an insurance for the product in terms of technical failures of the car. So there is other risks, for example, cyber risks that will be huge and bigger. So that will kind of compensate, but I think it won't compensate. It cannot compensate the size of the insurance market today. So one single robot is changing automotive industry, all the supply chain, the transportation, the real estate, the car insurance, also the health. I mean, if you have less accidents, also hospitals can change their budget allocation since you have less people in intensive care, in recovering for emergency. You can put more money on other kind of authorities. So many changes with one single machine. This is what happened. Okay, so being able to and automotive industry, insurance companies are all thinking about this and having plans for how to cope with this, embracing or not embracing. We're taking risks. It's not sure that will happen. It's not sure that technology will be allowed to do that. There are many things that we don't yet know. So we have to take risks much more than in the past. Robots are not only on the road, we have robots in point of sales. This is a product costs around 20,000 euros that is taking payments and showing you the menu. Is using Pizza Hut, but maybe you've seen also in Italy. I know some banks use it for, I don't know how powerful it is. But for example, some friends of mine that are also professors here, start up to do robotics for helping surgeons in the hospitals. So bringing stuff up and down, reducing, by maybe 1%, 2%, 3% the waste of time of people just for picking stuff. And so this is developing and changing, replacing jobs. Even if this is not replacing 100% of the waiters. And maybe you need one waiter instead of 3, because the most parochial, the most standard stuff will be done by a robot. The same happens with the small robots in the hospitals, in which maybe 5% of the time of the nurses will be saved by these robots. But if you have 10,000 nurses, 5% of the time means 500 nurses less. So you hire less people. So robot technology is not displacing so dramatically like in self-driving car that replaces 100% of the taxi driver. Normally, it replaces a small bits of our activities. Our jobs are made of many activities. Some of them can be automated. That will, in terms of large numbers, reduce the amount of people we need to do that job. Robocops in Dubai, they're buying still, and they're going to replace 35% of police in that way. Again, this is talked with the tourists, this monitor the traffic, this called the real policeman when it's needed, a human intervention. Okay? So it replaces some activities of the traditional policeman, not 100%, but it reduces the need of having humans to do things. We have robots, maybe you have seen choreographies made with drones on the sky, or if you have ever seen the new cruisers, you have in the theater of the ship, you have drones that fly over your head and do things. That's AI, that's IT-driven drones that are automatically doing things driven by artificial intelligence, and they are used also by humans for defrosting, for controlling infrastructures. So they take away jobs from squads of humans. We have robots in the factories. Yes, we do. But we are now having new kind of robots, AI enabled, that are called cobots, that are able to interact with humans. The robots, the old time robots, were basically programmable. You could teach them to do anything, but once you told them, they would repeat forever the same thing until you change the software, the program, the programming. These robots are able to learn, to adapt. They're able, if they touch a person, they stop. They are taught by workers. They pick by hand the robot and they take this, put it in the box. They do simple things. Things that are done by unskilled workers. If you go in left here in near Pordenone, San Vito, there are 3 or 4 different brands. This is the first one. This is the first one. It's named Baxter by Rethink Robotics. This is a company made 10 years ago, 11 years ago, by Ronnie Brooks. That was the head of robotic department of MIT. And this is a new kind of robots that will take away again jobs from blue collars, from the unskilled. They are at the base of many reshoring, coming back of production to more expensive country, because we automate production with the machines. What happens to the white collars? AI here is doing a lot of changing and threatening a lot of jobs. The first, even before AI, robotic process automation, RPA, is software robot, it's like Baxter, but made by software, are applications that can use different business software, business applications, SAP, BAN, access the internet and look into your bank account. And they can automate many operations that once were done by people. So they can do data entry using OCR and transforming, digitizing old archives. They can check if the records in your accounting match with the records in the bank accounting. So many boring stuff, once upon a time done by accountants, can be automated by these software robots. They are more than 10 years old. Now they're becoming smart. AI is making them able to not only replace the handwork, the old RPA, but cognitive RPA is replacing also some thinking of people. The chatbots, for example, that we know when you enter into your smartphone provider, you have Toby or somebody that is asking you, hey, do you need some help? That's a chatbot, okay? Is a very simple kind of AI, old stuff, but effective for customer care. It flows through a decision tree, so it's limited. It's a limited field of intervention, only for managing, how to handle a printer if you talk with the chatbot of HP, or how to handle your smartphone if you talk with the chatbot of your smartphone producer, and so on. So basically, they can be rule-based, powered by machine learning, rely on AI and natural language processing, mostly not proficient in language processing, assist business to improve customer support. So very limited scope. What is happening today is that we're starting to see virtual assistants that are much more capable. Until last year, they were available only for large corporations with a lot of money. I've seen in Enel, for example, is staff producing white papers on renewable energy to set up a presentation for the board by the head of renewable energy. So instead of having personal assistants, having humans looking and digging for information, they had these smart assistants that were reading the internet and taking the information from different sources and producing some kind of white papers, of reports that could then become presentations or whatever. Okay. Translation, AI is changing the market for translation. So many translators are losing jobs. I mean, not the interpreters, when you rely on it, much more subtle, or not the legal ones that are still, but also the legal now are a threat, as we see. But DeepL and Babel are tools that reduce the market for that. Okay, so the standard translation, when it's not critical, you do it on your own for free, basically using this stuff. Recruiting. When you apply for a company, normally we used to go through a human process. Now we are more and more in front with chatbots and smarter stuff. For example, NEC it looks like a game. You play a game. Instead, it's designed by the recruiter. It's a software that the recruiter can design to assess different dimensions of your personality. Risk aversion, how much you see, what is your strategy in coping with uncertainty and this kind of stuff. You just check the boxes, and then automatically AI produces a game in which you play, which the candidates play, the applicants play. Like I played one. I had to stop fire to come to my castle. I was the king of the castle. I had to pour water. So I could have different strategies. And that somehow gives a feedback to the recruiter about my own personality in terms of coping with this stuff. Then we have stuff like Encore, that is a platform that contains different components. One is automatic interview, a video interview, and the AI assesses your body language, your level of stress resistance, this kind of dimensions that again help the recruiter to shortlist, the candidates for the recruiting process. And then at the end, interview run through automated process, and then at the end, the last ones will go to the real round for selection with the team, with the recruiter. Of course, there are problems in this stuff. AI has a problem of biases because AI is taught by data sets, and they are used to make it learn. So the data sets are wrong. It makes mistakes systematically. For example, in Amazon a couple of years ago, it was famous the case in which they automated recruiting, the equivalent of Encore, just discarded all the women applicants because they trained the application with a data set of historical developers in Amazon that were 90% male. So the neural network learned that women cannot code. They realized it because they realized that they started to lose very bright girls, developers that were winning prizes, and Amazon that discarded them, not even talking with them. So they realized there was a mistake, systematic mistake. So AI is not, I like the way IBM calls it, is augmented intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence, it's not intelligent at all. It's a tool. It's a tool, we have responsibility to use it, to understand what is the limits, what are the limits, and address its output, its advice, always with some judgment. Watson for oncology, IBM application, most famous probably application of IBM Watson, but that is super flexible and have many applications. But one famous is Watson for oncology, in which I leave that. In which Watson is able to discover cancer better than making less mistakes than non-specialist oncologists. But since it is not an automated stuff, but it is a second opinion for the doctor, together with the real human doctor, it makes less mistakes than the expert of that cancer. So it's more powerful, a generic oncologist, in terms of addressing the real issue of a patient when he uses AI, Watson for oncology, than the specialist of that specific pathology. So it's a tool. It's a tool that gives us more power, more reach, more quality in decisions. In Black swan discovery is basically the new standard used in the legal systems in which the common law is applied. You know that in the States, in UK, in Australia, South Africa, many countries in the world have the common law that is different from our system in Europe, in which we have a code and laws are made by parliaments, full stop. There, many laws are made basically by the judges, by the decisions of the. I saw all the American movies on lawyers, on solicitors. We see all these guys looking into the archives for the precedent, for what decided in the court in 1822, blah blah blah. Okay, now this is gone because we have AI doing it with a fraction of the cost, 10 times faster, taking up from the archives, from the all archives of the courts in the States, all the precedents that can be applied to that case. Goodbye, thousands of young lawyers learning and doing this, hard job that is a way of learning. My job, as I said, is going to change a lot. This is 2016. These professors did used Watson as a tutor for his students, and many students didn't realize it. It was an online tutor. It was an email tutor. Most students didn't realize it was they were talking with a machine, and they tried to date Jill Watson was the name of the application. But we have MOOCs, massive open online courses. We have all sorts of new business models in the industry, in the education industries. So we are going to change a lot the way we teach, especially in light of what is going on now, because this is just the beginning. All the applications we have seen so far are applications based on deep learning or machine learning that are more traditional, that can be accessed basically TensorFlow, there are Azure, these are all in our hands. We can access them for little money. So any company can experiment and use the power of AI with the cloud. What is going on today is that big tech companies are competing like hell on AI, and this is what is going on. Look, only the first 3 months of 2023 had more than the double investment in AI than the whole 2022. And this is the trend. 2012, basically nothing. Now we are spending more than 20 billion the first 3 months invested by Microsoft, Google, Facebook to race against each other to build the next kind of AI that is called general intelligence. They are chasing the idea, the concept of general intelligence, intelligent AI. Jan Hogan calls it godlike AI, an AI in which you don't have to train it from scratch. You can ask it anything and it gives you a feedback that is useful, okay? So from deep learning to large scale AI, this is the new term that has been coined to talk about the large language models, the generative AI that like OpenAI GPT-4, and maybe you heard about ChatGPT or Lambda that runs Bard. Also Gato is still a large language model that is multi-purpose, so you can run robots, you can do things that cannot be done by ChatGPT. ChatGPT is at the chat. But we have also generative AI that produces pictures. Okay, this is the difference between deep learning and large scale. 10 years ago, the computer used to train the largest AI model was 10 elevated at 16 flops, so it was this number. Now it's 24. 24 is 8 zeros, means almost 100 million times more powerful. Okay, it's a huge difference. And the largest AI model had the size of 150 gigabytes. In total, now is 45 terabytes. This is a famous case, for example, done by this kind of generative AI, in which for the first time in September, I think it was Dalle, AI wins an art competition. This has been designed by an art, and they won an important context in digital art. Okay. ChatGPT-3 has been presented on November 20 last year. Just to give you an idea of the different power used in different, in the 50s, it was Teseo, the biggest one. Now we are 2020, 2025, and we're going up. So OpenAI GPT-3, already with GPT-3, you could do I did one with myself as well. You could generate fake people. This is not a real human. This is designed by AI. You ask ChatGPT-3, tell me something and explain me, write a lecture in first person about this transformation, gives you the lecture. You can also ask to produce the slides, and you can create a lecture without the professor. This is happening. And this was impossible 2 months before. And now it's even more stuff is possible. This is the passage between November and March. This is ChatGPT-3. GPT-4 is basically that. So from 175 billion parameters to 100,000 billion parameters. So we don't see it because it's still a chatbot. But what is behind it, it's incredible. I read a tweet this morning of a guy that has been asking to ChatGPT to write a board game with that is easy to use, that uses blah 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 blah, and it designed it and it explained the rules, invented from scratch. Explained the rules, played it. It's incredible. It's just we have to learn how to use this stuff. But this is AI given to the masses. AI so far, what we've seen so far is developed by data scientists and is still fundamental. Deep learning, specific, and gives you more credible, more reliable information. This is a much different tool. This is more fuzzy, it makes a lot of mistakes. So it's useful if you know already the field in which you can use it, and it can help you. If you don't know the field, you can do incredible. It's really dangerous. So a lot of people is worried. There was I think I put the link of an article that was in Financial Times 2 days ago, in which one of the most important AI scholars warns of the possible problems that will arise, social problems, not privacy problems, will arise from this. So today's AI, superhuman or high human, at a wide variety of games. It's much better. 10 years ago, it could beat people at chess. Now it can beat people at anything. Human level at under 50 reasoning and knowledge tests. Passes US medical licensing exam, passes the bar exam. So I tried to ask to ChatGPT to answer to my exams that I've been giving in the last 10 years. It would have taken between 30 and 30 plus in each of them. So the way we do exams for students had to change. It's not just what did you study on the book and answer to the theoretical question. No, you have to apply knowledge, and even there probably ChatGPT will be able to answer in the future. So display complex capabilities like power seeking and deceiving humans. Maybe you have read about ChatGPT or not being AI was this ChatGPT. Trying to convince the journalist to cheat with his wife and some things like that. Self-improve by reasoning out loud and finding ways to, for example, they told GPT-4 to convince a human, not to ask a human to solve a CAPTCHA, the graphic stuff that is used to make AI not be a bot, not being able to access. So he asked to somebody, please solve the CAPTCHA problem, but are you a bot? No, sorry, I am just a visual impaired. So if you can help me, I go through. So he did, and he did this, telling the researcher what he was doing. Reason out loud means this. So can write 40% of the code of software engineer. I wrote, I'm not able to code, but I wrote software, for example, for producing slides with ChatGPT, just asking it, write me a Python code for that. Copy and paste into Google developers environment, and you have the software, it works. So, is this digital transformation? Improving efficiency, changing the way we work, substituting humans to increase efficiency and so profits for the companies? Because it's true, the bureaucrat is just an expensive microchip today. Your job is just, cutting and pasting, controlling, checking. That's going to go away sooner or later, or sooner than later. So what we miss here? The issue is this: we are not, our problem is not that we are in a great recession or a great stagnation, but rather that we are in the early times of a great restructuring. Our technology are racing ahead, but our skills and organization are lagging behind. Technology is faster than our ability to learn. It's faster than the organizations to adapt to the changes. We are still thinking about things in a way that don't contain the technology potential that we instead have to bear in mind. The ones that are able to do that are the companies that worth billions and more than the Italian PIL, the Italian GDP, because they are able to embed technology thinking into their business model. So this is a representation, the progress on capabilities of technologies and the progress of alignment, social alignment, human alignment, our skills that is lagging behind. So this that we need. These radical changes are basically obliging us. What we call digital transformation is a new competitive condition characterized by the need of continuous transformation in business models driven by the data produced by the third platform innovation. Today we live here, okay, in a platform innovation based on these four basic technologies. Maybe you heard about SMACT, is the name of the competence center, digital competence center we have here in Northwest Italy. So social, mobile, analytics, and cloud. These four basic technologies enable all the rest. The result is that we have to learn to do things differently, make money in different ways. We're changing the way we make money by changing, like in the car industry. They are changing, they have to change. If they don't, somebody will. Some new entrants, some Teslas that come from the software. Tesla is an interesting case. It's a software, basically, entrepreneur that created this concept and is actually being able to change the strategy of all the industry. So we have to learn to evolve our business models. And what you have to be aware of is that, I'm not going into the details here, but this is a picture of the level of digital transformation of different industries in the United States, okay? So some industries, agriculture, construction, are very behind. Red means they are not digital. Some other, ICT, media, professional services, finance, are much more advanced in digital adoption. But what they discovered is that the effect on productivity, the last column there, you see, plus 4%, plus 3%, minus 0.9, minus 1.4, is not linked with every column is a meaning, but let's say the first two are buying hardware and software. The other four here are applying hardware software to existing processes. So I buy SAP, I use it for accounting, and that's it. The third one, the last three are named labor. And the most important of the three is the one with the yellow arrow that McKinsey calls digital deepening, digital capital deepening. But other literature calls it a digital mindset or digital human. There are many labels for that. But what is that? It is the ability of people to understand technology so well that they are able to think about alternative use, to extend the use of technology, to see the opportunities, to apply that opportunity to an innovation, and then create new value using the technology. They say it's a kind of digital divide inside digital divide. So people that use digital, but that is passive, that is just using digital, like the, you know, the user manual says, is less effective and is not able to grasp the potential of technology today, as the people that instead is able to have a vision of what technology can do, and then the courage to test new things. So what is this digital mindset? An important article appeared a few years ago that in the most important journal, scientific journal of management, that call to action scholars. We have to study this. We have to study because digital mindset is a set of skills that we already have in the company, because we, you know, digital natives, digital immigrants, it's 10, 20 years that use the social media. Huh? LinkedIn is 20-year-old. So we learn how to deal at least with the social side. AI is different, it's more new. But the social technologies are fundamental for this innovation process. So what is the digital mindset? Sense making of new scenarios, the opportunities, they different, their evolution. Quick identification of sources of information, rapid problem solving using technologies, openness to risk and experimentation. This is the only way to learn. Virtual collaboration inside and outside the organization, multitasking capability, habit to continuous learning and self-development, also via learning. My son, for example, studied management. He said management is useless. I want to study coding, and he studied on his own, he's self-instructed code, and now he works as a software engineer, even if he's graduated in management. Of course, having both dimensions, so you understood the companies and also the coding gave him an advantage. You know, these hybrid competencies today are very important. We have many engineers here that take our executive MBAs, and they boost their career really because they get they understand deeply the two words. So this hybrid way is important. This new mentality is important, and this digital mindset is already in the company. Okay, as I said, it's more than 20 years that we have social media. We are used to smartphones, and so people has the competence and the ability to see the potential of the technology. The problem is that the companies, the organizational rules, not yet able to leverage that competence. This is the challenge all companies have, and we are working a lot. And as Valentina said, I'm in charge of the executive education division of MIB, and we work with many large companies, and they are all investing in developing new organizational rules, new skills in data science, leveraging the social technologies to create innovation and produce new value, exactly the way we addressed at the beginning, that comes from anywhere, not only from the R&D department. They're developing a new culture. It's difficult. The larger the company, the more inertial is the culture, the more inertial are the systems. But they are all aware that they need to change the mindset of the company. So these skills are present. The workplace organization should be redesigned to ensure effective communication and collaboration. In particular, we have two sets of tools that can help companies to be more flexible and more innovative. The workforce development platforms are a promising and actually growing, fast-growing set of platforms that increase the flexibility by managing the labor market. And the workforce management tool that we use after COVID, there is being a boost in the use of those, new ways of coordinating people by Teams, Zoom. We are actually doing a lecture now using one of these tools. So these are the most important platforms, basically for allowing to people with expertise that they don't want to work for a single employer, to work for many employers. There are platforms enabled by AI as well, because they profile the people in the platform, not only by skills, but also by values, by attitudes, in order to maximize the effectiveness of the match between the freelancer and the team in which he should be working with. Companies today are working, if you work in a large corporation, you know it. In your team, there are some colleagues that are employed by the same company for which you work, and then you have many consultants coming, or suppliers, or people from other organizations but working basically in the same as colleagues. Okay, so this is the normal today, and this platform boosts this help freelancers to be put in touch with the organization to do this in a way in which they can perform immediately. There are less mistakes. I think that in the States, 30% of people work as a freelancer. In Italy, 2024 work as a freelancer by decision, not because they're being expelled by the labor market and they have to do something. They prefer knowledge workers now earn much more, they take more risk, pay more money. That's the trick of the thing. And instead, the workplace innovation tools are the ones we use every day. Twitter, Slack, WebEx, Teams, but also some that can be used to manage a project management, co-creation, like Mura, for example, for brainstorming, Trello for Kanban and board collaboration tools, GitHub for sharing code and so on. Okay, Asana project management, more structured stuff that is used by HR, and then social communication, corporate social media, are all things that we are changing the way we organize work. We need less hierarchy. Hierarchy was used to control people. Now, the cost of information, the cost of communication is so low, it's basically zero, that we can get rid of a lot of hierarchy, layers. All companies are delayering in this moment, because they can use more efficient and more collaborative tools than in the past. This makes them faster, but less under control. If the mentality is that of control, companies are slow to leverage this potential. COVID helped many companies to understand the potential of these technologies. But after COVID, they see many have come back. Some not. For example, Generali decided they will smart work minimum 2 days per week, everybody. Other companies that forbid smart work as soon as COVID ended, and so it's just a matter of taking a chance. Of course, also a kind of matter of business model. If you produce physically, you must be there. You cannot do on remote. So the complete picture of this transformation is this: it's not just automation; it's also innovation. It's using technologies to empower people, to give digital mindset citizenship in your company, to respect people, to listen to ideas of people, to transform people into innovators. And innovation, what is innovation? Innovation is the second part, okay? It's the most important part of this transformation. Is what brings us to the digital humanism. Human at the center. Human capital is empowered by technology. But what is innovation? What is the essence of innovation? It's not the idea. Innovation is 1% inspiration, is the idea. I know a lot of people with bright ideas. What is the difference between them and Jeff Bezos? I had the idea of e-commerce, 10 years of Jeff Bezos. Why am I not the super billionaire in the world?
Didn't implement it.
1% is inspiration, 99% is perspiration. This is a quote of what's the name of the founder of General Electric? Okay, Thomas Alva Edison. Okay? 90% is sweat. Is working, taking risk, is existing, is staying awake at night until you make it. So this is intrapreneurship. This is entrepreneurship if you do it for your company as the owner. Intrapreneurship if you have this mentality applied inside the organization. Companies try to create intrapreneurial mentality today. Management are expected to be innovators, to be able to see an opportunity and then put their face on that, asking for funding for that, selling to the company, to the customer, the idea, and convincing people of their vision and making this vision become something really innovative. In Amazon, they made this stuff part of their managerial toolbox. They have a process to encourage and help people to express ideas. They have hundreds of business models 20 of them are making money. Okay, they all come basically from also from failure. I think Amazon is the most let's say the most advanced, the biggest market share in smart speakers. So it gives it a huge access once this ChatGPT stuff will be embedded into that stuff. We will be at home. Actually, I using ChatGPT, I wrote the code to have ChatGPT inside Alexa. Okay, so you can already do it with the APIs, but sooner or later it will be part of it. You don't have to do nothing. Okay, but that comes from an internal failure, huge failure. Maybe some of you heard about the Fire Phone when Amazon tried to sell a smartphone. Right? They put 170 millions on that project, and then it failed. They didn't fire the one who had the idea. Because the idea, once you have the idea and the company thinks it's a good idea, it becomes a company idea. Maybe you are the project manager, maybe you're, but this guy from that failure learned how to use AI, to interface with your hardware and so on. And so from that learning, they created all the Alexa ecosystem. That is now a valuable asset for Amazon. So, a conclusion: capability of implementation. What they called the entrepreneurial organization. All these technologies produce huge amount of data. This is the raw material, as you said. Data is the center of the revolution here. AI is fed with data and produces something. So all this data oblige somehow the companies to think on how to use them, not only to create efficiencies, not only to automate, not only use AI to substitute people in driving cars, in doing things in the factory, but also on industrial scale by creating new products and services of greater value based on data. And so this is the picture of a data-driven company. Once upon a time, we had only this kind of data, okay? Enterprise data. Your processes produce data since the early times. Now we have new data coming from products that are connected, from the smartphones of yours. If you're a service, if you're an insurance company, you have apps. If you are anything, okay, you have data flowing back from your customer. So once upon a time, you sold the product or the service, goodbye, you don't know what happened afterwards. Now you know. Now you know how many hours your washing machine works. Now you know how much, in which times somebody uses the hair dryer or whatever. Plus, we have a third source of data, external data, the data we leave, your customer leave on the internet. Okay, so if you ask, tell me something about this guy, it gives you a profile, maybe wrong, inventing something, maybe that's why the privacy watchdog in Italy told stop, you cannot do that. But when you apply also to MIB, when you put your email or whatever in a website for asking for something, their customer relationship systems automatically go on the internet to look if they are interested. For example, MIB goes to LinkedIn to see if there is some more information to add to the profile of our application. So we have the CV of the person, we have some information coming from LinkedIn, and that's it. But MIB is small, and we don't need to profile customers in ways. But if you're an insurance company, if you are a car producing company, okay, you want to know more who is your. You want to expect. You want to understand if somebody enter into the Porsche configuration website. Well, understanding if this guy is playing golf or flying airplanes, or maybe you put the picture on Facebook or Instagram, wherever. It's important, it's relevant. Because it's not automated. AI is reading, profiling you, and then pop-up appears. They give the data to Google. Google makes the pop-up appear wherever you are with the right stuff. Sometimes they're getting smarter and smarter. Okay, but This is something that you can do only if you are able to dig on this new data. They are put into a data lake, it is structure that is able to handle raw data and dirty data, not structured data. And then AI can give you analytics that are descriptive, diagnostic, prescriptive, and predictive. These are advanced analytics, predictive and prescriptive are advanced analytics. This is something that is done well by deep learning. It's not done well as well. It's more prone to mistakes with the large language models, with the ChatGPT and the stuff. That's why we have to still understand what are the limits of this stuff. But anyway, this gives you deeper insight. Of course, you can see somebody parks his car always by the pool or by the airport. Maybe this guy is a frequent flyer. Maybe I can this immediate, obvious, basic insights that we have from raw data. But AI can give you a profile and tell you there are some tools online you can ask for your profile. Maybe one was made by Cambridge and gives you your sexual orientation, political orientation, so information that maybe they are wrong, but that is what AI thinks. And that is what decisions about you are based on for offering you stuff, but also in China for giving you a social rating that allows you to go abroad or not, to buy a house or not. So it depends. This gives a lot of power to the owner of the data. Then we need the privacy law, we need this stuff, but at the same time, as companies, we need to learn how to use this data, to leverage them, and to help our customers to create, to get more value from us, and of course, buy more. So what we have to learn, we must remember this. We must. I like this quote. This guy is a Nobel Prize winner. Okay, Muhammad Yunus, and this quote is probably the quote that made me want to dig more on these issues about what digital is doing to the world. Because I found this quote in a book by the founder of LinkedIn. And actually, if you think about it, it's true. All human beings are entrepreneurs. When we were in the caves, we were all self-employed, finding our food, feeding ourselves. That's where human history began. As civilization came, we suppressed it. We became labor because they stamped us, you are labor. We forgot that we are all entrepreneurs. 100 years of industrial era required big machine with big standardized set of workers. All our education system, our societies have been built for this more static world. To learn again to take risks. We have to nurture our natural. When you are a kid, you learn by mistakes, okay? By experimenting things, and then we are educated more and more in a kind of controlled, biased approach. We have to learn again to foster creativity and accept mistakes. This is the big deal for many companies. So the new organization, what challenges? Leadership, data strategy, having a vision on the digital, on the use of data, on the tools we can use, so the kind of AI we need to create. And this vision comes from humans, not from the AI. AI is not taking decisions. We have to take decision and to have a vision. Then we have to develop talent. Data science is important, but many other talents. Being able to write a prompt, of course, ChatGPT and the other BARD and the other that are coming. Data platform, invest in technology, of course. The more difficult things are these two: decision-making, data governance, having all this data, having the power of AI giving us advice, having zero cost of communication, oblige us, not allows us, oblige us. Smart companies have to learn to put data, information where the competencies are and where the problem is. So give the power to the experts or to the people near the customer that have the competence, that have access to information to take decision. Empower the teams, not only control. You don't have to blame people that makes things they didn't ask to the boss. Of course, to do this, you need to align them. But the problem is not controlling them by hierarchy, but allowing everybody to understand where the company is going, what is the vision, what is the North Star of the company. Trust them, of course, train them, select them, recruit them correctly, and then let them create value with their goodwill and intelligence. So this is a challenge. Self-organizing teams, let's say, not individuals, but teams. Second difficulty is the data mindset, which I would say switch from the concept of when you enter into a meeting with a problem to solve, the first question normally is what we think about this. We should start by asking what we know about this. Start from the data. Then, of course, you interpret it, you discuss. Don't start with, I'm the boss, I think we should do this. Find the data to justify my idea. Start with code analysis. Shut up if you are the boss. Listen to the people. And then take a decision and discuss it with the team. Because now we have more experts that know more than the boss. What's the problem? So if the boss is cool, is intelligent, is also humble, understands the value of everybody, also the newcomer in the company. So this is what we have to learn, to switch from the traditional bureaucracy with the expert, so R&D, marketing. Now, R&D can be done in all the teams. Marketing can be created and adapted in every team. So the new organization will be more self-organized. Leadership will be servant. Leadership will be helping the teams, giving them the direction, sustaining them, empowering them, but not giving orders. And quick changes, flexible resources, teams will be able to exchange. If you Google Glassfrog, for example, it's a platform that is used to run organization without a hierarchy. This is an extreme, like this is an extreme. Companies are, 90% of companies are blending these two approaches, of course, you cannot. But this is what is the real agility, the real agile organization becoming. An organization in which a hierarchy is substituted by trust, by skills, by credibility, and by self-organization. You give the teams end-to-end accountability on their tasks, on their responsibility. There are some companies that allow teams to self-manage compensation. They decide, people decide his own salary, the level of trust you have. And research shows that they don't go away. They are not out of the market. Okay, so if you're able to do that, company become ambidextrous, able to leverage what they already know, be efficient in doing evolution, control and monitor, scale, but also able contemporarily to be flexible, innovative, okay? Exploitation and exploration, innovation, evolution, startup mentality, try and error, speed, cause and effect. So this is the real challenge. Okay? The real challenge is a mindset shift from short-term profit to long-term purpose of the company, from a hierarchy to networks, from controlling to empowering, from planning to experimentation, from privacy to transparency, from using information asymmetries to empower, to use sharing information to gain trust and create value with your colleagues. This starts from you. The entrepreneurial change starts with giving yourself the permission. Raise your hand and say, I think we should do this, and become more entrepreneurial. Give yourself the permission, because the excellence is a form of deviance. Thank you very much. I close with this quote of Henri Toffler. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Unlearn is a difficult part, okay? Because we like, the things we have done always in these ways. So this is, I think, the real essence of digital transformation. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.